What is up, everyone? UFC Fight Night, Hooker versus Sarukian will take place this weekend, and I'm going to give you my full rundown, predictions, and breakdown on every fight on the card. Before we get started, though, I wanted to look back into the past and just give a quick recap on UFC 322. I wasn't able to get a recap video done up in time, so I figured I'd just address it here in the start of this. I did it right on picks, 10 and 14. I think I went pretty good. Nailed the start of the main card. Cooked out on the co-main and the main. Sad to see our boy JDM go down. It needs to be said, man. Islam Makhachev, pound for pound number one, and he has to be in the GOAT conversation. It has to be said. You can't have that conversation without his name being mentioned from now on, because the resume he's putting up, man, it's insane. As far as the rest of the card goes, I did pretty well. Only a couple of picks wrong across the prelims and start of the main card. Without further ado, with that being said, let's jump straight into this card. Some exciting fights, especially as we get higher up into the card. First fight of the night, we're looking at a heavyweight bout. These guys, neither of them are in the UFC, or this is both their first fight in the UFC. Heavyweight, man. This one can go either way. Marek Bujlo, he's got a 100% round one finishing rate. So 6-0, all round one finishes. He's got, I think, 4 knockouts and 2 subs. He's going to be chasing the grappling. That's his path to victory in most of his fights. He looks for the grappling. And the fact that all of his finishes have been in round one, it could be a little bit of a concern. We don't know how he's going to go going into the second or the third. Whereas Denzel Freeman, he's been the distance once in his fight, twice. Once he lost and once he won. I can't remember exactly. I think it was something like you got two decisions that he's gone to, and he's been into the second round in some of these other fights. He's got 4 knockouts. He's got good wrestling, man. He's got good wrestling from the tape that I've seen. He has the ability to shuck off takedowns. He can get his own. He seems pretty well-rounded. And for that reason, I am going to lead the side of Denzel Freeman in this fight, just with the question marks on the cardio of Bujlo not ever going out of the first round. I think if Bujlo can't land his takedowns, which I think Denzel can defend, I think he's going to have some problems. And Denzel's got some... I mean, looking at the records of the guys that these guys have fought, Bujlo, however the fuck you say his name, the guys he's fought, they all seem like absolute cans, whereas Denzel, he's fought some guys with some positive records, you know. And even Stephen Asplund, he's beat him once, and he just got signed in the Contender Series. So I'm leaning the side of Denzel Freeman. Don't want to spend too much time on this one. Heavyweight bout. Could go either way. Medium confidence on that one. On to the next fight. Narulo Alayev versus Shamrock. This is the first debut from the gym that Paddy Pimblett trains at. There is 2 in this fight card. We'll get to the other one later. Alayev, we'll start with him. Heavy grappler. Not much finishing ability. That needs to be said. He got his second finish in his career, I think it was, in his Contender Series fight. It was a ground and pound knockout. His way to victory is going to be the grappling control. He's not always looking to chase the finish. He will unload big ground and pound flurries, lots of shots at once he gets the safe chance to do so. But he's happy to stall it out. Just from what I've seen so far, his 2 UFC performances since the Contender Series debut, they've both gone to a decision. It's both been mostly control time and takedowns. Not a whole lot of intent to cause damage, you know. Not a whole lot of finishing ability, which is... I think it could come into play in this fight because Shamrock... Amazing grappler, man. Amazing grappler. He's got really good submission ability. And that's going to make this an interesting fight because obviously Alayev, as I said, he's going to be leaning on the grappling. He's going to be looking for that control. Look, I could see Alayev just stalling out a 3-round boring decision if Shamrock can't stop that top pressure, But look, I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to lean the side of Shamrock with the finishing ability. He's got 8 submissions, I believe, on his record. He can get it done. He can get it done by finish, man. And I think that's something really important when it comes to fights. I think Shamrock can get this one done. Alayev, obviously, good grappling, but yeah, I think I'm going to lean the side of Shamrock by submission. He could probably get it done by decision also, but I'm going to lean the submission. I'm going to go out and say he gets it done by submission. I'm not too impressed with Alayev as of what he's shown so far, so happy to take the risk on this one. Next fight of the night. This is an interesting one. Ismail Nordiev, however the fuck you say it, versus Ryan Loader. Okay, so Loader, tough, ultimate fighter. He recently won that, beating Robzilla. We've seen that Valentine's still got a run in the UFC, and he's been finished a bunch of times. So we've seen that's not the best win. But look, Loader, good wrestling. D1 All-American wrestler. He's going to be shooting the takedowns. That's his key to victory in all of his fights. He's going to have the advantage in the wrestling. And if he can't get it there, then we could see problems like he did in his last fight, where he just got absolutely stomped. Just absolutely stomped by the Azamat Bakoev, who actually recently just lost to Yusuri Belguri. That's another conversation. Loader, like I said, good wrestler. That's really his one key to victory. He doesn't have any submissions on his record yet, so he is going to be chasing the wrestling and look for ground and pound, all that kind of stuff. Nordiev, he's had 2 fights in the UFC, 1 win, 1 loss. He beat Bruno Silva, I believe it was, and just recently coming off a decision loss to Young Park. One of those guys. The Iron Turtle. It was the Iron Turtle. Young Park, I believe. He proved to be a bit of a dirty fighter in that one. Okay? He landed 2 eye pokes early in the fight, and in the second round, there was a sequence where he landed an illegal knee and thought that he'd finished the fight, which resulted in him losing 2 points for that round. And I think ultimately that probably lost him the fight. Apart from that, it was somewhat close, I guess. Look, not the most impressive fighter. Hard not to lean his way with the amount of fights he's had on his record. Obviously 24-8, so he's had a lot of fights and only 8-2 for Loader. So the experience, there is going to be a bit of difference there when it comes to pro experience. But look, I think Loader can get the takedowns here. I think he can get the takedowns. I think he can get the control. And I think he can look to get a finish. I think he can look to get a finish either by TKO or submission. It's going to be a tough one. I think this is a close matchup, and it's hard to really gauge the level of both of these guys based off of the performances they've showed. Obviously, Loader being finished in his last fight, I think he's at risk of getting finished again by knockout. If he can't get the takedowns, there's going to be real problems here. But I believe he can. I believe he can get that control. And even if he can't get the finish, I believe he can use his good wrestling to control the fight and keep it where he needs to get the win. Not much more needs to be said about that one. On to the next fight. Now, this is a pretty good matchup, man. This is a pretty good matchup. We're looking at Beksat Almakhan versus Alessandre Topuria. Yes, brother of Ilya. This is his second fight in the UFC, coming off the win over Colby Thickness earlier in the year in February in Australia. I was actually there to watch that one. Yeah, look, Bexat, I'll start with him. Powerful striker, man. Powerful striker. Got some pretty sick combos. He can set up his strikes very well. And yeah, for the weight class, he's got some sick power, man. He's coming off a round 1 knockout win over Brad Katona. I'm not sure if Brad's ever been finished prior to that, but he put him out bad with a big uppercut in that fight. And before that, he had his debut in the UFC, and that was a short notice, I believe, matchup against Umar Nurmagomedov. He knocked him down in that fight early. He was controlled later into the rounds and later in that first round, even after getting the knockdown. He was controlled out the fight and stifled out, really. But it needs to be said, he did get a knockdown on Umar, so the power is real. The power is legit. And the striking is legit. He's a serious threat in this division, and I think this is a great matchup. Now, I am going to lead the side of Topuria. I know that they have a good wrestling background. They love their hands. They've been fine in the KOs, but it needs to be mentioned, these guys were grapplers. But that Greco-Roman wrestling background, and I think he's going to use that in this fight if he's smart. If he's smart, he would have seen the weakness in the Umar fight because Bexat, ultimately, he did get controlled for a good part of that fight. And I think Topuria could do something similar, possibly even snatch up a submission, but I'm probably leaning the decision based off of control and damage from top position. But hey, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a submission. Topuria, great finishing rate. Only one of his fights, I believe, have gone to a decision, and that was his last. Look, man, it's a close fight. It's a close fight. So it's tough to call this one, but I am going to lead the side of Alexandre Topuria. Next fight of the night, Abdul Rahman Yakhyayev versus Rafael Sequeira. God, both of these names are a fucking mouthful. This is the hammer and nail matchup of this fight card, I believe. Yakhyayev, he's coming off his Dana White's Contender Series win just in August there. He was a physical presence in that fight. Let's just say that. He was a physical presence. He came out, finished the fight quick, big power in his hands, big aggressive style. And I think he's going to do something similar in this fight. Sequeira, he's had a couple of outings in the UFC now. He's showed the lack of ability to cause damage to any top level or any opponents, really. He's been knocked out twice since joining the UFC. He's coming off it was just a unanimous decision loss. And that was to Julius Walker, who's all right. But he's still young in his career. So this guy, man, I can't find anything really good to say about him other than he can beat up on tin cans, which seems to be what the beginning of his career was before joining the UFC with an 11-0 record. He's now 11-3. So I think Yakhyayev, I think they've set this one up for him to get a good showing in Qatar. And look, I don't think much more needs to be said about this one. It comes down to the physical presence of Yakhyayev. And I think he's going to be able to impose that onto Sequeira and get the finish in the first round. Now, I'm going to lean the side of knockout, but I'm not going to be surprised if he submits him. Yeah, finish in the first round for Yakhyayev. That's my pick. Next fight of the night, Nicholas Dalby versus Saeed Izagayamayev. Fucking hell. Oh my God. Izagayamayev. No, I'm not even going to try and say it, okay? I'm not even going to try and say it. Okay, so this guy's coming in, Russian, debut. Look, not the easiest fight. to start your UFC career with. Dalby, he's not the worst. He's not the worst. He's old. That needs to be mentioned. He's old. He's about 41 or something. But look, he's a cardio freak. He will put a pace on. He's a pressure heavy style. He's got good grappling. He's like a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. So he's no slouch. That's for sure. He's no slouch. But in this fight, I think it's tough. It's tough, man, because Dalby's just coming off that, flatline knockout loss to Randy Brown, and that was a bit of a war. And at his age, he's gaining that vet status. He's been in the UFC since like 2019 now. So yeah, Sagid, he's pretty well rounded. He has a lot of submissions on his record, and he's a power striker. He's a very powerful striker. Got power in the hands, powerful kicks. And look, I mean, it's a tough one. Like I said, it's no slouch. It's no slouch. But I am going to lean the side of Sagid. I'm just going to say his first name because that last name's too much of a mouthful for me, to be honest. I'll wait till the commentators say it and then I'll start saying his name, okay? But yeah, I'm going to lean the side of this guy, this Russian, and I think he's capable of getting it done by knockout. I'm not sure how good his grappling is, so maybe he can land a submission. I know Dalby has some pretty good grappling, so I don't want to go out on a limb and say he's definitely going to submit him. I think he's more of a chance of knocking him out, especially with Dalby coming off that knockout loss to Randy Brown. In this point of his career, it's always going to be a concern, and that really is the main reason why I'm leaning the side of this guy. Dalby's a tough debut for anyone. He did broad check Gabriel Bonfim, who is now on a tear, who just beat Randy Brown, by the way. So Sagid Izaka Yamayev, something like that. That's my pick. By knockout or decision. We'll stick with that. Next fight of the night. This is an exciting one. Bogdan Grad versus Luke Riley. Now, this is the other prospect coming out of the gym that Paddy Pimblett trains in. This is one of Paddy's main training partners. I'm looking forward to this one. And again, it's a pretty good matchup for him in his debut, I think. Not a complete bum in Grad. He's a good grappler. He can throw decent strikes, man. He's got decent power in his hands for the weight class. He's a pressure-heavy style. He's going to shoot takedowns. He's very good on the ground. That needs to be said. Riley, this is his debut, so he's only fought regional competition, whereas Grad has fought in the UFC a couple times now with a little bit of success. But yeah, Riley, powerful striker. He's got a lot of knockouts on the record, and that's where he's going to want to keep this fight. He needs to keep it on the feet, and it's as simple as that, really. Grad, if he can get it to the ground, which I think he possibly can early, but going off of Riley's last fight where he fought a strong grappler, a strong submission grappler, he was able to defend the takedowns for the most part. He did get taken down once or twice maybe, but he was able to get back up to his feet, able to wear out on the wrestler grappler, and he imposed his game into the second round. As the wrestler started to get tired, he started putting hands on him and he scored the knockout. I can see this fight looking the same as that. So I'm gonna lean the side of Luke Riley here heavily, to be honest. I'm gonna lean the side of Luke Riley here heavily, and I think he does it by knockout in the second round. Bogdan Grad, like I said, no slouch. He can strike, he can do it all. He's well rounded. But man, I think Luke Riley could be something special, and it's gonna be good to see him come in here for his debut, and hopefully he has a good one. Hopefully he gets a good finish and really introduces himself to the fan base. It's something to look out for, That'll be good. Now, next fight of the night, Alex Perez versus Asu Almabayev. Now, another interesting matchup with this one. Asu, he's a pressure grappler, going to be pushing for the grappling, pushing for the wrestling control. That's his key to victory in most fights, man. He's coming off a knockout loss to Manel Kape. Needs to be said, he was eye poked before that loss, before that knockout. Yeah, look, all around good grappler. He's got submission ability. He will stay on the pace, and I think a 3-round fight here is good for his style. Alex Perez, he's well rounded. He's got good wrestling, good boxing. He is susceptible to a submission loss. He's been submitted like 5 times now. I needed to mention that one there, which does come as a bit of a worry in this fight because Asu, he is a good grappler and he can chase those submissions. Alex Perez, he kind of got thrown around a bit in his last fight against Tatsuro Taira. Not a bad loss. Taira's pretty good, I think. But it also needs to be said, he did lose that fight in a really weird way. Taira was on his back and he kind of used his weight to throw him off balance, and something happened to his knee and the fight was stopped by TKO due to injury. I'm not sure how bad that injury was, but I mean, anything to the knee, it can't be good. So that's something to note down here. I think he's not the worst, but I think Alex Perez could be coming to the end of his career. And this is a tough matchup. This is a tough matchup because Asu, Kazakh prospect, good grappler, has those submissions in the arsenal. And his only losses come to top competition, except for earlier on in his career. I'm going to lean the side of Almabayev here. I think he gets it done by decision, but I'm not going to be surprised if he snatches up a submission. As I did mention, Alex Perez, he has been submitted 5 times. I think we'll see some good scrambles in this fight either way. Leaning the side of Asu. Next fight of the night. This is an interesting one. First fight of the main card. We're looking at Tagir Ulanbekov versus Kyoji Horiguchi. Now, Ulanbekov, Team Khabib prospect. Well-rounded enough. He's a big frame for the division. Good wrestling, obviously. Good control. He's got 8 submissions, 8 decisions, and then a knockout on his record. So he can do it all a little bit. He's looking to impose the grappling. That's going to be his keys to victory in most of his fights. The grappling control, top heavy control, and the pressure. He's going to stick on the pressure. Now, Kyoji Horiguchi, he's coming in to make his second stint in the UFC. See, they've got his record here as 18-2. That's fucking wrong. It's like 35-4 or something. Oh, can't remember now. On a minute. Let me have a look. 34-5. 34-5. Okay. Vet of the sport. Needs to be said, he's got the experience. So this is no slouch matchup, and I don't think he'd take this matchup if he thought it was gonna just be a domination. You know, I feel like he thinks he can hold himself in this matchup. I don't see Tagir landing the submission in this fight, but I am leaning his way for my pick. I think Tagir will be able to control, use his pressure, use his grappling, and just gain the advantageous positions and win either a 29-28 or a 30-27 decision. Look, Horiguchi, his only submission loss came to the GOAT of the flyweight division, DJ. Nothing to look down on. Like I said, very, very experienced. He's an older fighter. He's been through the trenches. Now making his second stint in the UFC. So it will be interesting to see how this matchup plays out, but I'm leaning the side of Tagir Ulanbekov. I think he can get it done with his grappling and grappling control. And, stall out the fight. Maybe a little bit of a boring one. Oftentimes that's the case with Tagir, but we'll see. I'm interested to see how Kyoji holds up. And, yeah, I look forward to it either way. Next fight of the night, Sergey Spivak, the polar bear, versus the king of the taxi drivers, baby. Let's go. Shamil Gaziev. This is another heavyweight bout. Second one on the card. Look, this is a bit of a step up in competition for Gaziev. Spivak's obviously It's in the top 10 or whatever of the heavyweight division. Gaziev, he's going to have a bit of a size advantage in this one, and he's going to be looking to push that forward pace. He's got wicked straight rights, big power in those rights, straight down the pipe. He's going to have a big advantage on the feet here, I believe. Spivak, he tends to struggle on the back foot, I've noticed a lot. And I think Gaziev's going to be able to put him on the back foot in this fight. Now, Spivak, he will often lean to his grappling. He's got a lot of submissions on the record. Gaziev's only loss, it come to Jairzinho Rosenstrike. It was in the 4th round. He gassed out badly, very badly. Now, this is only a 3-round fight. I don't think we need to worry about that in this fight. But yeah, I think Gaziev can really push a forward pace in this, and I think he's going to have quite the physicality advantage over Spivak in this fight. And I think he can land the knockout early in the first. His straight rights down the pipe are nasty. They've got nasty power in them. And I think he can really impose his game. He has good wrestling and grappling, so if Spivak wants to tie up a clinch, I feel like Gaziev can defend or even impose his own grappling game. So I think he can hold his own in that aspect when it comes to the grappling. But I honestly think this is going to be a forward pressure, stand-up, quick fight, quick knockout for Gaziev. I can see him getting it done in the first round by knockout. Next fight of the night, Jack Hermansson versus Mekdebek Oralbai. Now, bit of a strange matchup here. This is at welterweight. Mekdebek, he's come up from lightweight recently. He's had one showing at welterweight. He got a first-round sub against a debutant. So it's nothing crazy impressive yet. But as far as him being a prospect goes, he's been pretty promising so far. His only loss in the UFC so far is to Mateusz Rebecki. That was a fucking war, man. That was a fucking war. If you haven't seen that fight, you should go back and watch it because that was an absolute war. And look, he's a grappler. He's a strong pressure grappler. He can do it all. He's got clean striking on the feet. He's quick. But his grappling game is where he shines the best, I think. He's got really good submissions, very good pressure grappling. And on the other side, Jack Hermansson, he's coming down from middleweight. Yes, he's coming down from middleweight. This late in his career, it's a little bit of a concern seeing this. Normally you would see fighters go the other way and going up in weight. But he's coming down. And it needs to be mentioned, he's coming off a brutal knockout loss to Gregory Rodriguez where he was out fucking cold and Gregory got him with a follow-up shot, which was not necessary. It was not necessary, but it happened. He was out bad. And I think that's going to come into play in this fight. And going down to welterweight, I'm not sure how that's going to help him. Look, he's a crafty vet. He is a crafty vet. He can pull off a crafty win. He did have a win in, I think, 2024 against Joe Pyfer. 5-round. He showed the experience on him. He showed the experience game on him. But I think this is different. I think Mekdebek, he's pretty switched on and he's proven that he can go into a war. I don't think this will be a war of any sort because Jack doesn't throw crazy heat as far as the striking goes, unlike Rebecki, who's just throwing the fucking wall at you. Look, I think Mekdebek, he can use lighter man skill here. I think he can get this done however he likes. I think he'll be quicker on the feet. I think he's going to be able to land his takedowns. I think he can possibly even snatch up a submission. I'm going to lean the side of Mekdebek Oralbai, and I think he's going to get it done by finish. I think he'll get it done by finish in the second round. I'm not sure if it'll be a knockout or a submission. Manson, he does have very good grappling, and he is going to be the bigger guy. But coming down to welterweight, like I mentioned, after that vicious knockout, I'm not sure this is the right move for him. We're leaning the side of Orobai. I think he gets it done by submission. I think he gets it done by finish. Going to lean the side of submission. Let's say that. Next fight of the night. Believe this is the feature bout. Sure is. Volkan Oezdemir versus Alonzo Menafield. Now, this is an interesting matchup. Looking into this fight, right off the rip, I was leaning the side of Menafield. He's had some crafty wins. He's coming off a unanimous decision win over Umar Sy, who's a pretty decent prospect, coming up in the light heavyweight division. But yeah, crafty wins. Submission win over Jimmy Crute. I mean, that's not bad. Jimmy Crute's a really good grappler. I think Alonzo is pretty well-rounded. He has been caught out in the past overthrowing and leaving himself open. He ran at Carlos Ulberg like a fucking... I don't even know if I can say that. He ran at Carlos Ulberg like a fucking idiot. Let's just say that. And got put out instantly. I think he learned from that. He showed incredible patience, almost too much patience in the Sy fight. But look, he got it done. He was able to defend the takedowns for the most part. He did get taken down, I think, once or twice in that fight, but he was able to get back up to his feet, impose his game. But like I said, he was almost too patient, which I didn't really like, because it's been that way kind of in his more recent fights, whereas he used to come out as kind of a really aggressive finishing threat, with a lot of knockouts on his record. But more recently, a lot of his fights are going to the decision, showing that patience. I think that could be a problem for him in this fight. Volkan Oezdemir, he's got big power in the first round. He's got good striking. He can do it all. He can mix it up. But he shines best in the striking. He shines best in the stand-up, I believe. He's going to have a slight height advantage. The reach advantage is slightly in the favour of Alonzo, but the height advantage there. And look, he's only been knocked out by fucking Daniel Cormier and Yuri Prochazka. So that's nothing to look down on, okay? Whereas Alonzo Menafield, he got knocked out twice recently. Carlos Ulberg and... remember who else? I don't remember who else. It wasn't the worst, but like... when you put him up against Yuri and Cormier, it's like, you know. And Alonzo's knockout losses, they did come more recently. That needs to be said, and I think that's important in this fight. Now, Oezdemir, he's 36, whereas Menafield is 38. So they're both getting up there in the age. I'm going to lean the side of Oezdemir in this fight. I think he can have a bit of a striking advantage. I think he might be a bit quicker. He's going to have a bit of a power advantage, and I think he's going to get the finish in the first round. I can't get the memory of Alonzo running at Ulberg in the very first seconds of the round and just getting absolutely put out cold. Now, I don't think he's going to go ahead and do that here, but Oezdemir has proven to be very strong and very powerful with his striking in the first round. And I think he can put that on Alonzo Menafield here. I think he can land the knockout. All right. Exciting one. Co-main event of the evening. Bilal Muhammad versus Ian Machado Gary. Wow, where do we start? This is a good fight. Bilal Muhammad is coming off the loss to Jack Della Maddalena. I don't even want to talk about it. Just how good are his takedowns? He wasn't able to get Jack down, but Islam did it quite easily. So there might be something to think about. In this fight. Look, pressure heavy style. Doesn't have much pop in those hands. I'm talking about Bilal here. Doesn't have much pop in those hands. He's very pressure heavy style. He's going to be looking to chase the takedowns, chase the grappling and the control. And Gary, man. Gary's a lot bigger than him here. he's gonna stick on the outside and he's gonna look to, pick his shots, dance around the outside, keep moving. I think that's a key factor here in this matchup is Ian Gary's footwork and ability to move around the octagon and stay on his toes. Just pick him apart as he tries to, make his entries. I think Gary, because he's been training with Charles Oliveira, he's definitely showed improvement in the grappling over his recent fights, especially in the CP fight and the Shavkat fight. Look, he almost had Shavkat in a submission there at one point. And the CP fight, man, it's aging beautifully. Look at what Carlos Prates is doing. Look what Carlos Prates just did last week, man. So, great win there. Great win for Ian Gary. And I'm going to lean the side of him to win this weekend. I think he can really pick apart at Bilal here. Bilal's striking, I think, is going to be levels behind Ian Gary. And I think Ian Gary has the grappling ability to keep this fight on the feet for the most part, or even potentially shoot takedowns of his own, shoot grappling transitions of his own, get some clinch time up against the fence, knees to the thigh, all that good stuff, all that fun stuff, But yeah, I think Ian Gary, ultimately, he'll pick apart at range. I'm going to lean the side of a decision win for Ian Gary. I think he can get it done dominantly. Bilal will probably have early success with the takedowns. But I see that wearing, and I see Ian Gary starting to pick him apart from the second and the third round. And I think this will be a decision win. I could see a finish in some way, maybe a knockout. I don't think I could see a submission happening here, but maybe a knockout on the side of Gary. But ultimately, I'm looking at a decision win. That's what I'm leaning on. Ian Gary by decision. And this is a 3-round fight. That needs to be mentioned. I think that's important here. If this was a 5-round fight, we might be looking at a little bit of a different breakdown, because Ian Gary showed that he was gassing late in that fight with Carlos Prates, and he had a moment where he was crawling away from him on all fours. We'll forget about that one for now, all right? On to the main event of the evening. Man. Tsarukyan versus Hooker. I really wanted to pick Hooker. For this one. I can't do it. I don't think I can do it. I cannot do it. I think Arman's going to win. And I think he's going to win in dominant fashion. And I hate it. I really like Dan Hooker. He's such an exciting fighter. He's always going to bring the fight, He's a brawler. He doesn't mind getting in there. Look, Tsarukyan, he's got amazing grappling. He's very well-rounded. Close fight with Islam in his debut. I think his only loss in the UFC was to Mateusz Gamrot. A lot of crazy scrambles in that fight. He can mix it up well. Crazy grappling, good control, good entries, good striking, good power in the hands. He put Beneil Dariush out in the first round. Yeah, man. This is a tough one. I don't think Arman is an absolute lock, because Dan Hooker, he's got that dog in him, man, He's got that dog in him. And the range. He's going to be a lot bigger than Arman in this fight. He's going to have a reach advantage. He's going to be taller. He's going to want to pick apart at him here with these jabs, teeps. That's what he'll do usually when he's got the range. He does a good job of it. Leg kicks, jabs, and teeps. Set up his big strikes. But it needs to be mentioned. He seemingly gets rocked in a lot of his fights, including the one with Mateusz Gamrot, which is his most recent fight. He won by split decision against Mateusz Gamrot. So a good win, a very good win. It was very close, and he did get rocked a couple times in that fight, but it was very back and forth. It was a war. It was a good fight. Go watch it back if you haven't before. But yeah, ultimately, I have to lean the side of Sarukian in this one. Really, he is the rightful contender for that title shot in the lightweight division against Ilia Topuria. And I see this fight being a good setup for him to secure that title shot and get the fight with Ilia Topuria. I think he can get it done here, and I think he's going to get it done by finish, and I think it will be in the first 2 rounds. I hate to say it, but I think that's what's going to happen. I hope I'm fucking wrong. I'd put that one out there. I hope I'm fucking wrong, okay? I really hope I'm wrong. I'd love to see Dan Hooker just take this dude's head off, okay? I just want to make that one clear. I'm not turning on my boy. Not turning on the fucking local boy. I know he's New Zealand, but hey, they're neighbours. Come on. Ahmed Sarukian by finish in the first or second round. That's my pick. And that's my breakdown done for this card. Look, thanks for watching, guys. If you've got to this point, I appreciate it. Yeah, exciting card. I'm going to have to stay up all night to watch this one. It starts at like midnight, so that's going to be fun. But hey, look, I'm actually going to try and get a recap video out for this one. I will have more time this next week, so yeah, I'm looking forward to getting this video out. I'll have a quick picks short come up. But yeah, looking forward to watching this card. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.